Hello, Javier. Thank you so much for submitting Banana. You say difficult, especially if you don't have the tools, necessary tools as a ruler. But I found it interesting. Yes, that is interesting. And just so you know, the reason we do this by hand, and I'm okay if you use a ruler, of course, to draw the baseline, the mean line, and the cap line. Just don't use a ruler to draw the individual letter forms. And the reason for this is because you want to get familiar. You want your brain and you want your hand-eye coordination to put these optical relationships together so that your brain picks up and understands how these letters are assembled and how their spatial relationships are assembled in not only in and of themselves, but in their relationship to their neighboring letters. And there's only one way to do that. Listen, I'm going to be honest, Javier. When I get a new client, or if I get a client that has a job and they want to use a specific typeface, and if it's a typeface I'm not familiar with, I do this exercise. And I've been practicing design for over 25 years, and I still do this by hand. I still get in there and trace out letter forms if it's a typeface I'm not familiar with. And the reason is to become intimately familiar with the optical relationships associated with these letter forms. So this is definitely a hands-on, very, very practical assignment. So, and we don't use tools necessary as a ruler, but typographers use all sorts of, um, measuring graph papers and compasses and all sorts of French curves. And, well, of course, we don't use that typically anymore. A lot of them are designed, a lot of typefaces are designed digitally, but traditional typefaces were definitely used uh, uh, to a great degree, used measuring devices. Okay, let's take a look at the word banana. As you can hear my little dog barking downstairs. I'm so sorry about that. That must be so annoying. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, and a little bit of this is summary based on some of my comments to other students, but the first thing you want to do is get that baseline down. Draw that baseline. And of course, in the instructions say draw the baseline, mean line, and cap line at the same time. But as you have found out, we can't draw the mean line until we get the letters in place because the mean line is not something constant. Neither is the cap line. So if you were reading that and you said, hey, wait a second, that doesn't make sense, then you're definitely onto something here. And if you didn't catch that, go back and read this right here, instructions to begin, draw baseline, mean line, cap line. And in your head, think of why that doesn't make sense. Again, the reason is because each typeface has a different mean line. The mean line is associated with the x height, which is the height of lowercase letters, right? So specifically the lowercase x, ergo x height. However, the line is the horizontal line that is drawn on top of the lowercase letters. So, of course, yes, we can't do that till we know the height of those lowercase letters. So, moving into your final presentation, what I'd like you to do is draw the baseline, okay? Then place the B, the cap B. Establish your cap line, draw that out. But most importantly, you want that baseline to be perfectly level. If you have a T-square, that'd be great. But the baseline and the mean line have got to be, it's got to be perfect. That can't fluctuate at all. It's got to be perfectly parallel. Once those lines are in place, things are going to be a little bit easier. Then you'll have good guides for your horizontal. Then all you have to do is worry about true verticals. As we can see right now, you've got these diagonals here where they should be verticals. We can see it in a couple of different areas, okay? See that N is a true vertical, but right here it's on an angle, okay? The cap B, I noticed something in the cap B. Let me just reduce that a little bit so we can get in there and see this. I want to get the cap B in the same frame with your B's, but you can see this is called a bowl right here, and that's that opening in the cap B. And we can see a couple of things that are going on here that we don't see depicted in your rendering of the letter, and that is the upper bowl is larger than the lower, whereas in this letter, we can see that the upper is actually a little smaller than the lower. So watch that. It's really, really important. That's called optical relationship. And those are little things that are built into typefaces for maximum readability. You'll want to watch that A, that little kind of, that little way that it kind of swerves right down there. That's inherent. That's a classic characteristic of Franklin Gothic, the way that that A kind of nudges out a little bit at the bottom. So I think you got that pretty good. This should be depicted right here. This is called a variable width stroke. And we can see that because the width of the stroke down here is less than the width of the stroke. This is a wider stroke width here. Okay, and we would like to see that depicted here. And also think about that teardrop shape right there, that negative space of that, the bowl for that two-story lowercase a. Okay, so that leaves us, Javier, with kerning and the space between letters. So let's talk about that. So your formula is this, okay? The two curved letter forms should be the closest. The next closest should be the narrowest space should be between two curved letter forms, in this case, the cap B and the lowercase a. The next widest should be between a curved letter form and a straight letter form, the N and the A. And then the widest should be between two straight letter forms, the A and the N. So again, B and A is the narrowest, N and A is the next widest, and then widest should be the A and the N. And these shouldn't be drastic differences. You should barely notice them, but they should definitely be there. So you'll kern those spacing, then you just repeat it over here. So you'll kern the B and the A and the N, and then the N and the A. And then the A and the N is just a repetition of that, and the N and the A is just a repetition of that, right? So really you're only kerning 1, 2, 3 letter forms, or 3 combinations of letters. The B and the A and the N and the N and the A. So you have that formula. Watch your craft. You might consider using a softer lead because right now the contrast here could be improved a little bit. I think you're a little bit light in your tonality here. And then watch your consistency. Okay, so each of your A's looks a little bit different. So you really want to watch your consistency there. Okay, and again, this is such a useful, this is a great exercise. It really is. This is so practical because it teaches you so much about the way letters are constructed, and especially, as I said, their relationships, their optical relationships that are intended to enhance and maintain optimal readability. Okay, the kerning game, I don't introduce this until week 2 in the class, but I might as well do it now because it's pretty applicable. I want you to get in here and play with this a little bit and see how you do. Okay, this is called the kerning game, and here's the URL right here. It's type.method.ac. I know it's a weird URL, but if you just want to type a Google search, the kerning game, you'll come here, and this works really. It's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, what you do is you move letters a little bit. You can nudge them with your keyboard, or you can move them, and you just kind of practice your kerning. Then you go ahead and 89 out of 100, not very great, but not bad. So, and then you just practice your kerning there. So try it. I think it'll definitely help. Try it before you submit your your final rendition of Fire and Ice for Banana. Okay. Any questions at all right here? Please feel free. Do not hesitate to let me know if you need help. All right. Great job. And like I said, any questions? I'm right here. Thanks, Javier.